Hey guys, today I'll give you my list for the top 10 superhero origin stories. Alright, number 10, the Fantastic Four. Marvel's first superhero team have had their fair share of, hard times, but I guess it all goes back to when they first got their capabilities. See, when they all went into space, they were hit with a dark matter cloud which gave them separate abilities. It gave Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, super elasticity, gave Sue Storm invisibility and the ability to control force fields, gave Johnny Storm, her brother, the ability to fly and control fire, and it turned Ben Grimm into the stone rock-hard monster known as the Thing. But individually, they have their separate attributes, but together they are Marvel's first superhero team. Number 9, Green Lantern. The Emerald Guardian has possibly one of my favorite origin stories. He wants to become a test pilot like his dad, but his mother forbid it because they saw the plane he was in crash. But when he did become a pilot, he ran into a Green Lantern member named Abensor. He was the lantern that gave Hal his power ring. And then the new Green Lantern came to be. And since then, there's been more human ones. There's been John Stewart, Guy Gardner, Kyle Rayner. Number 8, Wolverine. The savage adamantium-clawed Wolverine has one of the darkest origin stories. He was born in the 1800s, actually, in Canada. He first discovered his ability when he was only a kid. But he didn't have adamantium claws, he had bone claws. But as time went on, he went through several different wars, and when his half-brother Sabretooth killed Silver Fox, the woman he loved, he took a procedure that gave him adamantium claws and went off to find him. Number 7, the Punisher. The Punisher is a complete badass with such a dark past. He had him and his family go to Central Park in New York, and there was a mob attack, and there couldn't be any witnesses, so Frank witnessed his whole family die right in front of him. So then he became a junkie and didn't know what to do with himself until he thought that he would seek out justice for his family, and so the Punisher was born. Number 6, Deadpool. Deadpool is one of the silliest but coolest Marvel characters. Not only that, he actually had cancer a long time ago, but he volunteered for a procedure that was supposed to cure him of it. Instead, it accelerated his cancer to the point where it scarred his whole body. In the prison he was kept in, the inmates had this thing called the Deadpool, where they would see who the guards would kill next. And when he got free from the facility, when he broke out of the facility, he called himself Deadpool because of the game that was played there. Number 5, Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is possibly, she is one of the hottest characters in DC, but she also has one of the strangest origin stories. Much like some of the women on Themyscira, she was brought to life by clay, and the god Zeus gave that clay baby life, and that became Diana. She was trained by the greatest fighters on Themyscira until she encountered a man named Steve Trevor, and she returned with him to man's world and fought in World War II. Number 4, The Flash. Flash's origin story has been, I've seen his origin story hundreds of times because I've seen the TV show over 1,000 times. He basically saw his mother killed by the Reverse Flash, that's the TV show. He got home and found his mother was dead and his father was blamed for it. Until when he got older, he was a forensic scientist for the Central City Police Force. and he was struck by lightning and doused in chemicals as well that fused with his system and gave him the ability of super speed. At the time, he was actually reading a Flash comic book, but it was the Flash known as Jay Garrick from Earth 2, and he was actually a comic book in Barry's world. Number 3, Captain America. The story of Captain America and his incredible strength goes all the way back to World War II, when a sick, weak man was turned into the Star-Spangled Avenger. Before he got the serum, he was possibly one of the skinniest people you will ever see. But after he volunteered for the serum, he was basically built like a brick wall. And he led the fight against Adolf Hitler in World War II. Not only that, he also had his sidekick Bucky Barnes to help him as well. Number 2, Spider-Man. Spider-Man's origin is one of the most famous, since typical nerd in high school gets bitten by a radioactive spider, gains superpowers, uses his powers to gain some money in a wrestling contest. But when a thug runs past him into an elevator, he doesn't do anything, as he says it doesn't concern him. Although he should have stopped him, because the man he let go actually kills his Uncle Ben. And before he does, we get one of the most famous quotes in comic book history. With great power comes great responsibility. And when Spider-Man confronted the killer about that, he was reminded about what his uncle said, and decided not to kill him. So since then, our Spider-Man has been one of Marvel's icons. Before I name number 1, here are some honorable mentions. Green Arrow, Hulk, Thor, and Cyborg. Alright, number 1, Batman. It's Batman, for crying out loud. Possibly the most famous origin story in comic book history. Batman knew about what he wanted to do from a very young age. After he witnessed his parents, Thomas and Martha Wayne, killed in Crime Alley by a man named Joe Chill. We don't know his name when he kills them, but in later comics, we find out his name is Joe Chill. But he decided to become the crime-fighting vigilante Batman, as he used his own fear to instill his own version of fear into the hearts of criminals. Right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Now, just let you know, since it's half-term coming up, I won't be giving any videos until then, but I will be returning to give you guys another top 10 list. See you guys later.